There are two ways through life. The way of nature and the way of grace. You have to choose which one you'll follow.
We're alligator.
You'll be grown before that tree is tall.
Hello, and welcome to What the Flick, where today we have the daunting task of trying to explain to you what happens in the Tree of Life. I'm Christy Lemire, that's Alonso Duralde, that's Matt Atchity. Alonso gets the fun job of trying to find a plot within the Tree of Life. Take it away.
Okay, so Sean Penn is having a midlife crisis, which causes him to have flashbacks of growing up in Waco, Texas in the 1950s, where he and his two brothers sort of run around and explore the world and are being raised by their mother, who is loving and caring, and their father, who is sort of stern and strict in the old school sense. And then the universe is formed, and the blobs turn into the sun, and the earth cracks, and microbes walk out of the ocean, and then a dinosaur steps on another dinosaur's head. And there's a quote from the book of Job. That's all I got.
Guide us to the end of time.
Unless you love, your life will flash by.
Are you confused? Anyway, we all have very, very conflicting ideas on this. I'm gonna start with Alonso first because he liked it, and then Matt.
I liked it a lot. I think it's a flawed film that everybody should see. Particularly, you should see in the theater. This is not a movie to get on Netflix and watch on your iPhone because it's gorgeous. Yeah. It's shot by Emmanuel Lubezki. It is breathtaking. The way that the movie, the crux of the film is the childhood flashback stuff in Texas. And that really captures a child's point of view of the world in a way that I've really never seen in a movie before. And I think that if the entire film had just been the flashback stuff, the growing up in Texas and the two parents, the stern one and the loving one, that in itself would have been a great, great movie. I think if you took out Sean Penn and the dinosaurs and the Earth's crust, you would have a great movie. And as it is, I think it's an unfocused, sort of philosophically wobbly movie that never quite knows what it wants to say, or at least doesn't convey it very clearly. But there's so much great stuff in it, and it's so great to look at that I still think people should see it. Although I think it is not a perfect movie by any means.
Matt Atchity. Can you say Alonso, you ignorant slut?
No, I won't say no because I will preface everything I say by admitting that I am very much in the minority here. The movie is at the high 80s on the tomato meter. Right. It won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
But I think people are going to argue about this movie all year.
And people are going to argue about it.
That's part of why it's great.
There are a lot of people who are far more knowledgeable about movies than I am who really like this. I fucking hated this movie. I hated this movie.
Do you like Terrence Malick ordinarily?
I do. I've enjoyed his movies. Okay. I found this movie to be extremely self-indulgent, extremely masturbatory. Like, you know, this movie, for what he was trying to do, I felt like at most should have been a short film. To take what he was trying to do, to take the idea of telling a movie almost completely in montages, is something that you could do in a short film. There's no excuse for doing this as an almost 2.5-hour movie. I just felt like, because I felt like you didn't necessarily learn anything. You know, when you get the whispered voiceover of, you know, God, where are we in your vision? And then you get, what, 15, 20 minutes of the creation of the universe? Please.
It's very pretty, though.
Well, it's beautiful, but who fucking cares?
I like to say that it's a movie about daddy issues where one of the daddies happens to be God.
Right. But I felt, you know, again, like the idea of putting it in terms of, you know, our place within the universe and within creation, I just thought was really over the top and unnecessary. It didn't, to me, it didn't add anything to the story for me. It didn't add anything to how I was feeling about the characters. I felt like it was unnecessary. For the story of how Jack, who they never really actually even name, and it was very confusing. I had to look up later which kid actually was supposed to be Sean Penn as an adult.
Mm-hmm. The oldest one, right?
Right, but it was confusing,
okay.
right? Which is a whole other issue I have. I felt like, you know, as far as Jack wrestling with the influence of his father versus his mother, that whole interlude about, with the dinosaurs, completely unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to it. It didn't add a single thing to the movie for me.
I would say all of the cosmic stuff, all of the ethereal kind of amorphous stuff, and also including the dinosaurs, adds to the mood. And it's mesmerizing, and you can't even completely internalize it and understand it immediately after the first viewing. It changed my mood.
It added to my mood. It annoyed me.
No, it changed my
like,
mood for
what
the
the
rest of the
fuck
day.
is this?
But think about how infrequently does a movie change your mood for the rest of the day, for better or for worse. We see so many movies. Most of them leave like not a single trace on us. We've forgotten we've seen them the next day.
And I'm even willing to give this movie the benefit of the doubt that I could be one of those people that saw 2001 when it came out. We're like, I don't get it. It's stupid,
Monkeys.
And that's,
Yeah.
and I'll admit that,
what was the point of all that caveman
and
stuff?
that's probably what's happening with me. I'll admit that.
It may well be that in 10 years, like, oh yes, of course, the creation of the universe, because blah 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 blah. But for now, I found it beautiful to look at. But then when it was over, I was like, where was that going? And Bob Kohler actually wrote a really interesting review where he said that if this movie is supposed to be representing like nature as a destructive force and God's grace as the opposite, as the nurturing, caring side of the universe, then why does the one dinosaur not kill the other dinosaur? Because that's supposed to be nature. That's supposed to be raw primal nature.
Right.
And so I don't know. So I think I found the messaging a little muddy, but obviously there are Malick fans out there who are in it hook, line, and sinker, and so who am I to say that they're wrong? For me, I thought it was a little all over the place.
I would argue that there's not necessarily even a message here that he is trying to enforce versus he's asking questions to which the answers might be unknowable. I think he's putting stuff out there for himself and for all of us to ponder because there are contradictory things going on here. There's a tragedy, there's somebody who dies, and it seems arbitrary, and it scars them decades later. Where's the benevolence in that? Versus the benevolence that the big dinosaur shows over the smaller one by not killing. I mean, I think it's the unknowability of the universe and the randomness of it all, and maybe you rely on religion to help you sort it through. I am not religious at all, and I was not offended or alienated by any of the Bible stuff.
But part of it too, though, is I felt like one of the things that really bothered me about this movie is I felt, and again, maybe it's just that I was missing things and it was all over my head. But the idea that I couldn't figure out which kid grows up into Sean Penn as an adult,
I figured that out. I don't know
because he's like the main kid.
Right, but I thought, okay, so is it? But
he clashes with.
It was his
right,
POV,
but I thought, but is it that I was thinking, is it that it's the older boy who clashes with his father enough that he goes off to war and dies?
I'm not sure the kid goes off to war and dies. I'm not
right.
sure
Yeah, they never say what he dies.
And that's the kind of thing,
like,
I was really irritated by. Like, I guess I wanted more answers. I felt like if whatever he was trying to make me feel, I felt like I didn't really have enough clues to kind of know what he was trying to get me to feel. And that, I had a problem with that.
One thing that kind of went through my mind at one point, and again, it's any interpretation here, I suppose, is up for grabs, but it's almost the idea, the whole creation of the universe stuff was kind of like, ultimately, the human ego exists in a way that we kind of think of all history having been created and having been the run-up to us. And so like
that's the way it is, right?
Yeah, the creation of our universe,
you are the culmination of everything that has happened beforehand. And so, in a sense, in telling this guy's story, he's got to have all that in there too. I guess I don't know. I'm willing to say that I may have missed some of the boat on this film. But again, I will say that for all its flaws, and even if you wind up hating it as much as Matt did, you should see it in a theater because it's so great to look at.
Yeah, no, it does capture very well the way that you recall your childhood, like in little wisps and snippets of light and sound and like grass and sky.
Yeah, and the angle from which you view things.
I did like that he was able to do that. I thought Brad Pitt put in a really good performance. I thought that the tension between the father and the mother was represented well,
and he's not even like abusive.
No,
I think he's just it was the 50s.
Right.
This is what dads were like.
Right, he's kind of a martinet, but that's the way somebody like that would probably be in Waco.
But he was loving too.
He had his moments of Now, did I think that we needed that entire sequence to be told in a montage? I don't. think so. I mean, it felt like watching a 2.5-hour trailer.
But
sometimes.
it is a memory piece, and I think that when you think back to your own life at age 8, it's not a through line. It is like I said, it's snippets, it's moments, it's little things that kind of stick in your memory. And so in a way, I was okay with that because I mean, I think the guy who makes feature-length trailers is Michael Bay. You know, that drives me nuts. This, at least, it felt like this is Sean Penn remembering his childhood from 50 years ago or whatever, and so it felt. You know, it was part of the storytelling process, and it didn't.
See, I wasn't sure. I was thinking this is Sean Penn thinking about his brother that died.
I think he's remembering his own childhood. Yeah. Sean Penn, maybe the weakest part here, they don't give him a whole lot to do. He walks around in these tailored Armani suits and he mopes.
Although apparently, from what I hear, I've read that his part was cut substantially. Okay. So he's sort of the Adrian Brody of this movie. Like he was from Thin Red Line.
At one point, he's on the phone talking to his father, and I'm thinking, okay, are we going to see?
Like I was dying.
I was or not even that. I really wanted to see at least something about how their relationship had changed as adults, and you get none of that.
No.
And you know, there's
just that one conversation.
You know, and again, I will admit that I'm probably completely missing the boat on this. That I'm probably one of those people who would have walked out of 2001 going, you know, whatever. You know, I clearly don't understand this movie. So
that's okay. I think it's baffling, and that's part of the allure of it. Is that it is challenging and not totally knowable. Let me say really fast before we go. The kid who plays Sean Penn as a child, Hunter McCracken, I think is great and is the true star of this movie.
Yeah.
And not only like holds his own with Brad Pitt, like is
that
totally
kid was great.
toe-to-toe.
That kid was great. The woman who was playing the wife was
Jessica
really
Chastain.
good.
Yes.
But
the middle kid looks exactly like Brad Pitt.
He's
it was scary.
Freaky Muppet baby Brad
like
Pitt.
created in a lab, Brad Pitt.
I would have liked to have seen somebody try and do this that I guess was maybe telling the story more traditionally. That was trying to tell a story about a father and his influence on his son a little bit more traditionally. You know, the symbolism that was put into this movie just eventually started to really rub me the wrong way. You know, as they're walking around Monument Valley, as Sean Penn's walking after his young self and goes through the doorway.
That whole part felt really trite to me.
Right.
That felt like I've seen this in like every sort of lame experimental film. Oh, we're in the desert and there's dead people
walking around on the beach,
really?
walking around
really?
on the,
Terrence Malick, come on.
Right, walking around on the sandbar and seeing all the people from his past.
It's like the end of Longtime Companion.
You know,
some of it is very pretentious.
As I was trying to describe it to somebody, she said, "It sounds like it's a guy who's suffering from depression and kills himself." I was like, "Oh, maybe."
Anyway, cycle of life.
Cut the credits.
We should do numbers. Senor Duralde.
I will give it a firm 7.
Okay.
I really disliked this movie. I gave it a 3.
I was kind of wowed. I gave it an 8.7. I thought it was beautiful and mesmerizing, and I bought your Malick hook, line, and sinker. So there you go. So 6.2 is our number for Tree of Life. It is really super high on the tomato meter right now. It's like, what, mid-80s?
Mid to high 80s.
I will suspect that this is the kind of movie that probably a lot of critics feel like they have to say they like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is one of the few times I'll say this. I don't necessarily recommend this movie, but you should totally go see it.
And there's your blurb. All right, thanks for watching, you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.